What's going on, my people? Let's do another tutorial. How you guys feel about it? Let's float forward from downward facing dog into that forward fold stance again. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Champion Yoga, and I'm always here to bring you the things you need for yoga. And today we're floating forward to the top of the mat. Let's do it. All right, so we're gonna float forward to the top of the mat. First, we got to talk about the fundamentals and the basics of it because that's everything when it comes down to what you're doing in your yoga practice, right? So, first and foremost, if we're floating forward to the top of the mat, that means the hands are gonna be down. That means the wrists are gonna be working. Let's make sure we warm those wrists up. This is just a practice. However, you want to make sure that you are warm in anything you do, especially when you're doing things that you find to be challenging to your body is also going to appreciate getting ready for that, just like you're mentally getting ready for it. So that's a good thing. Once you get your hands nice and warm, let's start talking about the concept of floating forward to the top of the mat. First, you're going to want a decent forward fold. You want a decent hamstring stretches in your normal everyday life before you start coming to this, because a big part of this is your body folding in half to get the legs to come down comfortably and softly into your mat. So if you're looking for that forward fold practice and it's not quite there for you yet, what you would do, maybe sit down on the floor, lift your knees up, wrap your arms around and under there. You could grab a towel if you need some support, or maybe a yoga strap to have some support. And then you're just going to try to pull your body as flat to those thighs and those knees as you can and try to slide your feet away from you. Now, if you could bring your forearms all the way down to the mat, you're probably in a pretty good space to start working with this float forward to the top of the mat. If your forearms don't come down before you lose that body to thigh connection, or you really start to feel a painful sensation, then I would stay there and work on your forward fold for a little while and let that be a space, but also continue to working on your arm strengthening. I have a couple other videos for you to work on that arm strength and help you out. But if you're here today and you have that fold and you have those hamstrings, let's get into it. Now, I acknowledge the fact that the way that I'm going to teach this may not be the way that other yogis or any other yogi may teach this. There's always going to be multiple ways to do things. So if this way is not your perspective or it doesn't work out best for you, feel free to look into other yogis and see if maybe they can help explain it to you. I always encourage you to find the best space for you. However, if you're with me, let's get into it. All right. So first thing I want to talk about is you got to make sure you get the hips to come over the shoulders, right? So in order for that to happen, that's why you need that good fold. So when you're coming from your downward facing dog, you're trying to push, hop, and float your hips over your shoulders. So you don't want to hop and bring yourself forward because your hips never rose up. We never came to that basic hand press trying to get the shoulders to open up. So I want you to consider more into less of coming forward into your practice and more of stepping forward. Those hips arise, right? You're trying to keep the head coming through. You're trying to stack everything over the shoulders so you can get that float. And now the bend into the knees and the hopping forward is a very strong part, right? So take some time to practice the process. Bend into the knees, let the hips sink down, and then press back up and go forward. Now if you start to press forward, do your head come over your hands, or are you able to rotate? Because that part of the practice is going to be important for your float. So if you're pressing forward and your head is coming over your hands, then you're probably not necessarily working those hips up. If you're pressing forward and you're finding that lift, this is going to be the space that you want to start to work in. And then what I would do from there, I would start with one foot, take a little hop forward, like a little step forward, then a little hop forward, then a little float forward as you get more comfortable going into it. Here's what I mean by that. Bend into the knees, take a little step forward, find that forward fold, even step back, work the other side, bend the knees, step forward, come to that fold, step it all the way back. Then maybe you get a little more comfortable, so you take a hop forward, find that fold, take the other side, hop, find that fold, come forward. Remember, you're trying to find the weight to stack into the hands. Then you'll start to hop forward to the top. Maybe you won't get as deep into that fold because, again, now you're thinking about the weight being in the hands and you're not so much thinking about the fold anymore. You need all of it to go into the practice, but you're taking it by steps. So don't beat yourself up so much. Just learn the phases that you're in right now, right? So as you bend, you float. It doesn't come as much forward, but you're getting more comfortable with the weight being into your hands. And then eventually you can start to find that whole float, right? Trying to push those hips over the hands and use your core muscles to lower those legs down between the hands nice and slow. Don't just let them fall because of gravity. Allow them to lower and melt that whole space down. Shifting forward, finding that stack. using those core muscles, hamstring flexibility is going to be major for you. This may have been helpful. It may not have been. If it wasn't, jump in those comments. Tell me what else I missed. Tell me what I didn't say to you. If it was, go start floating forward to the top of the mat. I'm Champion Yogi. You know you can find me anywhere. You can always look at me on my website, TikTok, Instagram, and all those other spaces. But until then, I leave you with light, love, peace.